Over the past year or so, Alton Towers have been working hard to rebuild their beloved roller coaster, Nemesis. From completely ripping out the track and retracking it, to completely redesigning the look of said retracked track, even to the station, the surrounding area, and all that kind of stuff is changing. You get the gist. But there's a few things that I've recently realised that could be quite major changes coming to the new ride. Could we see a brand new rerouted queue line with added theming? Could we even see a walking pre-show? And could we potentially see brand new bins? And to talk about and, you know, showcase what I mean by these different changes, I'm going to be using my Planet Coaster recreation that I've been working on. This is literally a series where I'm trying to pre-create Nemesis, and oh my god, it's taking forever. But today I'm going to showcase me building some more of it and then go into the changes that could potentially unfold in 2024. And as always, if you do enjoy this video, please subscribe. I would be wholeheartedly grateful for it. Hello, welcome back to another Nemesis recreation video in Planet Coaster, of course. And as you can see, we're already getting into it. I'm building the supports, but today this is a very different Planet Coaster style video. If you watch the Hyperia recreation series, if you don't know, the second episode, I actually went into a thought part recreation and sort of showcased what Hyperia looks like compared to everything else in the park, I guess. And I did that purely because just doing Planet Coaster episodes over and over again of me just building things feels so boring, so I want to make it a bit different. So this time, I'm going to be combining two videos together pretty much. I wanted to make one video about some different changes that I sort of thought about with Nemesis and that we could potentially see. But then I also wanted to make a Planet Coaster video. So why not use the recreation, or what I've done of it, to actually talk about those changes? So that's what I'm doing today. And I explained that all in the intro. Why did I go through it again? Either way, I should probably talk about what's actually happening in Planet Coaster whilst I'm here. As you can see, I am building the support for the ride. We've done the sort of helix downwards, or half of that, because you can't see half of it's in the ground, and also the turn into that, plus starting the corkscrew. And before that as well, right at the start, you could see me doing it for the last turnaround, because that bit's so easy to do. I'm actually enjoying this series a lot more than I thought I would, because when I first loaded up the park, I went, oh god, I've got to build the whole of Nemesis. I thought about the terrain, the track, the veins, everything like that, and I was just absolutely bricking it at how long it was going to take. It's taken a while, but I'm happy with how it's come out. I'm not going to say the word difficult like I did last episode over and over again, because it actually hasn't posed many challenges so far, especially with the track work. That was a challenge at first, but I got over it pretty quickly, I want to say, and now we're even beginning the pathing and terrain, but a lot of people come to me and go, you are mad for even trying this because it's going to take up so much of your time. The terrain is going to be stupid to do. You know what? It's not been too bad so far. I've definitely just jinxed it. As you can see, I'm doing the turnaround here, the little helix. It's not very little, but I'm doing that, and also the entrance plaza area terrain too. Genuinely, so much happens in the next 2 minutes. I haven't filmed it all because a lot of it is boring, but as you can see, I've made the entrance portal sign that's at the front. I'll show a photo of it on screen right now. That sign, it's a little bit smaller than real life, I think, but I have a feeling they're going to change it slightly, so I didn't want to overdo it too much, and I might even add one of the changes that I'm going to talk about later to it. As you can see though, it was kind of easy because you just sort of did one side, copy pasted it over, changed a few things here and there, and then made a few more bits. But pretty sure that sign alone, including the Nemesis Reborn sign, which I'll get into soon, was about 4,000 pieces in itself. So yeah, it was a lot. But as you can see as well, it just skipped so much because honestly some of it was really boring to do, and I don't want to show you guys, oh, I placed a fence down 3,000 times. That's just so boring. Why would I show you that? But in summary, I've actually managed to get over a few of my fears with this build project, and they were a lot easier than I thought they'd be, which is always an advantage and a plus. As you can see, doing a couple bits of fence work, and you may be able to see a glimpse of the veins on the track because I actually found a way to do them. They are very time consuming to build, and they don't look 100% at the moment. I'm kind of making a few changes to them here and there, and I've still got so much to do with those veins, but it's coming along nicely, I think. And you guys can judge for yourselves whether it looks good or not, because now I'm in the park, and as you can see, Nemesis Reborn is right in front of us. But yeah, like I said, I've been working a lot on the area of the ride, and that includes this little slope up here, which obviously has to the right of it Nemesis Subterra, which is more over there, and the observation platform. I've got to go up there, don't I? Take a little walk into here. Oh my god, the audio. It literally does the same thing I did in real life, where it just cuts me off. We got the monorail right in front. You can see the bank turns slightly down there through the trees, and then all of that track work with the veins. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, the veins, I'll get onto that in a minute, but Jesus Christ. That's like 4,000 pieces again in itself. It's crazy. But if we come down to this Nemesis Reborn sign, as you can see, I've highlighted the 30 because the B looks like a 3 and it's 30 years old next year. But the reason I've made it slightly smaller is because I think one of the new changes that I haven't really talked about could come here, and that is the old track. We do know the old track is in storage. They haven't completely scrapped all of it. So what's stopping them from putting some old track sort of going up the left and right, or sort of, I don't know, arching over a little bit more? Or it could be part of the station, who knows? But we'll continue walking down. As you can see, I've done a lot of the fencing here. This is all custom. I think one fence in itself is probably like 100 pieces, which my PC will be dead by the time I finish this. Jet black rather than that brown rustic colour it used to be, so it looks a lot more fresh and intimidating. I never thought I'd call a fence intimidating. Here is your main view of the ride. Of course, the veins are still yet to go in on the 0G and this turn, and pretty much everywhere that's not the corkscrew and loop. But I feel like I've nailed that, sort of. And then we can even walk down here, down these little steps. This is another small change I reckon will happen. We'll see this area down here become a lot more sort of well kept. But this isn't complete in the Planet Coaster version, and it probably isn't in real life either. I just think once again we'll see a lot of replacement fencing down here. Instead of the rustic, it will be black, and we might even see some red bins here and there. But another massive change that could take place is under here. Now, if you don't know, this area in real life before it closed was pretty much just, I don't know, queue line and concrete. And considering there's a lot of scaffolding around this area in real life at the moment, could we see a walking pre-show go into this area under here? Of course, the queue does come along like this way here. Could we see it sort of run to the right side and have another fast track entrance go in? Or could we see a little cattle pen added under the lift hill? I have no idea. And by walking pre-show, I mean the likes of Cursor Tools and Manor, where you don't stop, you just sort of stop if the queue stops, I guess. But as you can tell, this area down here is very incomplete, because obviously the station, if the pre-show does exist, then I'm going to have to do that with the station. And also these step bits here lead towards the main entrance and queue line, which, speaking of that, that's the next change I want to talk about. So of course we know that the old queue line, if it wasn't extended, literally follows down the side of this little cliffside here. Well, hill. It's definitely not a cliff. Obviously comes down here, goes just below the lift hill, and then goes round the side next to the loop, and then sort of comes over here as well. It's very difficult to see on this map print. I sincerely apologise. But something that's not being mentioned recently is the extended queue. Of course, they're not just going to have that section as the queue line because it's not big enough, and my god, the opening day queue will not survive in that one short little space. So the old extended queue line used to go all the way into the trees. They completely ripped that all out. However, when it was open, they only used a small portion of the extended queue line. The rest of it was just overgrown to shit. But I think there is genuinely a possibility that those overgrown areas may return as part of the queue line. God, this is so riveting. The area behind the loop, as much as it may be rerouted or replanned, has a massive area that could have a load of theming in it, and it would be a perfect place to put some extra queue line length. As much as I did say that the queue had been removed, they've actually started putting in new fences in already, so using that part in the woods plus that part next to the loop, I think that queue will be very good. And you never know, it might even extend down to that turnaround like it used to, although I think that's Galactica's ride area now, so that might be unsafe. Either way, by the time I release the next episode, hopefully I will have all of this done. I pray. Make sure you subscribe so you know when that episode comes out. Good night.